So at no point am I just catching the ball. I'm moving my shoulders in the trajectory that the ball wants to fall, but I'm hello friends. So today it's kind of a quiet day at the gym, which is nice, but I'm also tired, and I think yesterday I mentioned something about being under recovered, and uh, while that is the case, I'm still someone who very much believes in being at least somewhat active every day. And so, regardless of the fact that I'm a little sore, a little tired, I'm still at the gym, and I plan on getting a workout in. That being said, it's going to be more of an active recovery kind of thing. And for me, active recovery pretty much means that I'm not going to try and take sets to failure. I'm not going to try and push the weight too heavy. Instead, on these kinds of days, I like to, uh, I don't know, play around with equipment, try to come up with certain exercises that might be, just interesting to try out, and then finish off uh, the workout with some sauna session. I might do alternate hot and cold today, like where I sit in the sauna for a bit, then do a cold shower, and then go back in, and something like that. Uh, but as far as today's workout, I started off with um, 30 minutes of backwards walking on the manual treadmill, which is that thing over there. Then after that, uh, I've pretty much been just trying to come up with movements that I don't know. So like if I try to I've been seeing certain kettlebell movements that utilize resistance band along with it, and that's kind of inspired me to come up with certain exercises. So I guess today's video is going to be a little bit of me trying to figure those kind of stuff out and put any exercises that I come up with on this video. And then I'll finish off with some sauna, which I probably won't record. And that'll be it for today's workout slash video. But yeah, let's go to whatever I come up with first. What? Alright, so for the first exercise that I'm doing, I'm using one of these resistance bands, and I'm going to get my legs wide apart such that there's tension in the band around waist level. And then I'm going to hold the kettlebell along with the band. You can, I guess, choose to wrap it around too, I guess. But that might be, I don't know. It's up to you. Do what you will. Anyway, so I'm gonna hold it in one arm like this, and do upright rows. So it's just a 15-pound kettlebell, but by the time it comes up, there's so much resistance, and there's constant tension pulling on the medial delt. Trying to keep my So if you feel like your traps are engaging too much and you want to focus more on the medial delt, try tilting your neck on the opposite side. So if I'm pulling with the left, I'll like tilt my neck to the right. This stretches out the traps, which forces the most of the load to be carried by the medial delt. Ah. Anyway, so that's around 8 reps, and I'm going to do 8 on the other side as well. I used a little bit of momentum there. Um, it is what it is. Today is more of like a playing around day. I'm not too worried about anything being too perfect. Today it's about experimenting and burning calories and having fun. Well, every day is about having fun, but maybe today a little bit more so. Going for 8 each side of that, and that's going to be the first exercise. Adding constant tension and I guess banded resistance to a regular movement or a regular exercise like the upright row. Try it out. If it's not on your active recovery day, you can go a little heavier and try to hit failure. The kind of contraction that you feel in your medial delt is really cool. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna do 4 to 5 sets of that and then move on to something else. So the audio got cut out at the gym at this point, so I'm just going to commentate. So I'm going to do banded kettlebell swings, and essentially what happens with banded kettlebell swings is, so you notice how the band is tugging on the kettlebell. So what happens is when you do a hip thrust as part of the kettlebell swing, the kettlebell wants to go up kind of in this vertical manner, but the trajectory at which the band's resistance is, it makes it come down, I guess, at much more fast, at much higher resistance than without the band, and it causes certain adaptations as far as having to brace for it, and then the amount of force that you do into the hip thrust changes. This exercise is something that I guess I saw Artemis Dolgin do on Instagram. So pretty much what I'm trying to do with the band is kind of rotate as if I'm trying to punch someone behind me with the opposing hand. And what happens is at the end, I'm kind of like doing that punch, which increases the resistance on the midsection at the end of the motion. This forces the rotational muscles, which are primarily the obliques and other muscles in the core, to work um, to produce that motion. There are a lot of movements in day to day life that require you to rotate at the trunk, and the more you're able to do it under resistance, the better the longevity of that movement increases. Here I'm doing a movement where I'm using those resistance bands again to bring it above my head and then rotate against the side of my body. When rotating against the side of the body, it creates a resistance, like, so it's the resistance bands are kind of touching you. So there's like this, I don't know, you'd have to do it to feel it. You feel like a very direct resistance on your obliques while doing it. Also, the fact that you're moving the hands above your head from side to side, the resistance bands are still tugging on your shoulder while you're doing that movement. So a lot of stabilizers are still active in your shoulders while performing this. And while doing this whole movement back to back for many reps, you're able to get your heart rate decently high and get some resistance training in. I think doing movements such as these are really good for your core and just to improve your quality of movement in day to day life. And so I'm a big proponent of movements that allow you to do like flow versus be very rigid. Um, so yeah, that was the exercise for this part of the workout. The audio comes back from the next clip. I believe the next clip is a single hand banded kettlebell swing. So I think I probably go over some stuff that I may have missed while during the voiceover on the earlier banded kettlebell swings. So yeah. So for the next exercise, doing banded kettlebell swings again, but this time with one arm. So using a lighter kettlebell and getting into the same stance, holding the kettlebell with one arm instead, and then everything else remains the same. Going for 10 each arm. What you'll notice is the band kind of almost violently pulls the kettlebell back down, and so there's a lot more force coming down and just kind of the same force going up. Another thing that I noticed is you're thrusting. So like, since even though it's a 25, you have to thrust with force that's like maybe for a 40-pound, because it has to go high enough to where it's still combating the added resistance of the resistance band. And so just overall a movement that's very similar to a regular kettlebell swing but presents its own challenges, and it's fun to throw these in every once in a while along with just regular kettlebell stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna do this for a little bit more, then probably, I don't know, I feel like doing another movement that's kind of like that banded thing where I'm kind of just flowing, and then after that I'll probably hit the sauna. So for the final exercise before I head into the sauna, I'm going into some walking lunges, but I'm gonna do like side to side ball slams in a very flowy way, I guess. I don't know if it's super flowy, but I don't know. It's I guess by flow I mean, so okay, I'm gonna just try to quickly distinguish it. So normal curl would be something like this. You're just curling, very stationary movement. But instead, if you were to do something uh, like a like where it's not rigid, where there is like a leaving and absorb impact, and I guess to even make it more flowy, you could throw in some glutes in there. So there you see, like, instead of the one motion is just the curl, and then the other motion is like you throw it, catch it, right? So in the throwing, there's like a little bit of glutes and like shoulders and stuff involved, and then to absorb impact, there's abs and glutes and stuff again. So that's kind of the difference between what would be a rigid movement and a flow movement. And so I'm going to do walking lunges in a flowy way with uh, ball slams. So starting off with one arm, and I'm going to do a slam, catch it with the other hand, and lunge walk at the same time. So it looks like this. So at no point am I just catching the ball. I'm moving my shoulders in the trajectory that the ball wants to fall, but I'm redirecting it using the direction in which my joints can move. And so I'm redirecting the downward force back up into the slam. And using my legs at the same time as the ball falls down to add to the absorbing the impact. But yeah, that's what I'm doing for now. That's my third set. One more set of that. So a little post-workout physique check. I sat in the sauna for about 20 minutes, took a kettlebell with me, and did some tib raises where I had the kettlebell on my ankle and just raised my tibs. Did that, and then some ATG split squats. ATG split squats are essentially this movement where you're like that, so it stretches the hamstrings, and then you do the quads as well. But I like to do that quite a bit in the sauna on an elevated surface. The sauna increases blood flow, so I like to, by doing that, I feel like I'm able to target a lot of blood into the hip flexors and into the tibs. Anyway, let's see what I look like. I mean, I did one of these yesterday, so it's not going to be too different. That being said, I didn't eat too much over the past couple of days, or past 2 days, so I probably look a little shrunken down. I'm pretty much on 0 carbs for 2 days. So I do carb cycling, which is I do low carbs for like 3-4 times a week, and then the remaining days. Okay, 2 low carbs. This is all by feel, but it usually ends up being like this in a week. So in a week, it's about 2 low carb, 3 moderate carb, and 2 high carb. My carbs usually come from rice, potatoes, apples, bananas, the carbs from that are in milk. Sometimes I use honey. But yeah, maybe I'll make a future video about all of that. Anyway, not looking too shabby. I'm glad I have the gym. So I pretty much just stay alone with my cat, and sometimes it gets pretty lonely and monotonous. But then I come to the gym and I meet all my friends at the gym and stuff, and so that's kind of cool. But then the other thing is, okay, so about the past couple of days, there's a couple of people who have been commenting on my videos. So thank you. Please comment more. I like responding. I like knowing that people are watching and paying attention, and I'll get back to all of them. So feel free to comment. Feel free to ask questions. I'll get back to pretty much all of them, and yeah, let's do some more posing, and then I'll rant for a little longer. Ooh, not too shabby. So, like in the end product, I want to lose this little bit of fat, and then I want to see some more obliques over here. And then I want to get comfortable posing with my back both this way. So this is what I'm comfortable with, posing this way. But I also want to get comfortable posing this way. Like my mind to muscle connection, when I try to do the back pose this way, is a little bit more hard to get, or a little harder to get than when I do it the other way. So I want to be able to like flow into like, this, to, or I don't know, like this, to this, like more fluidly. But that's the other point about, like, I guess doing flowy exercises, is you get kind of good at like going like this and just move it like let's say, so today I was doing the ball slam to lunge, right? So like now I'll go into a bicep, into a lunge. Now that doesn't look particularly good, I don't think, but I think you get the idea of what I'm trying to explain. Is like, instead of being someone that's rigid by doing movements or even taking part in just sports and stuff, would make you more fluid than someone who is just powerlifting or bodybuilding all the time. Chest striations looking good too. I'm not a big fan of being super big. I like being big, but I don't want to be super big. I want to be able to run long distances, also run fast. And I think being too big would come in the way of that. I like to be, I don't know, maybe like how Batman is. Yeah, I don't know. As long as I can do everything that Batman does, then I'm alright. Anyway, um, yeah, no, that's it for today's video. I don't know what all I ranted, but it is what it is. See you all tomorrow.